Yo, what's going on, guys? GZTV here, back with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about the 8th episode of Season 5 of The Walking Dead. I just watched it yesterday, and man, what a shock it was. Sorry I don't have a lot of energy. Pretty tired right now. I woke up like an hour ago, so yeah. We're gonna get through the plot. We're gonna get to the what people think of the episode. This is probably going to have a lot of critical reception because it is one of the more important episodes of this season, pretty much at this point. But Rick chases down Lamson in a police car after Lamson's escape from Sasha. You know, he distracted Sasha, and then he ran away with the handcuffs on. Lamson ignores Rick's warnings to stop, so Rick hits him with the car. So, very injured in Lamson. He's like laying on the ground. Rick told him to stop. He wouldn't stop, so Rick just took matters into his own hands and ran him over. A crippled Lamson pleads to be taken to the hospital. However, Rick executes him on the spot with his revolver, so Lamson dies. Rick is a very ruthless human being. We've seen that throughout the series. He has no sympathy for people that go against him, which makes sense, but I don't know. Fearing that Lamson's death will result in violence between Rick's group and Dawn's crew, Rick and officers Shepard and Licari, the other two captured cops from GMH that were captured along with Lamson, agreed to concoct a story that Lamson was killed by walkers. Like, yeah, we don't want them to know that you killed them because it's going to cause a war between our group and it's not going to go down smoothly. Meanwhile, at the hospital, order starts to break down when the officers fail to recapture Noah or report in, and others soon begin to lose faith in Dawn's leadership. So this place is just kind of crumbling down. It's falling apart, and it's interesting that this place is just now falling apart when it gets introduced into the Walking Dead story. I guess it shows that they've really been hit by the apocalypse. So yeah. After fleeing the church, Gabriel reaches the school where the hunters had set up camp. He discovers the remnants of Bob's leg. At first I didn't know what this was, and then I remembered the episode. Who could fucking forget that episode with them eating on Bob's leg? It's kind of gross. Walkers break out of the church and chase Gabriel back to the church. They break out of the school and chase Gabriel back to the church, where he is cornered against the fortified front door and experiences the fear of his parishioners. He got locked out, and it's kind of like symbolic. It's like you're locked out from inside. But this time he actually has a savior, so people that are more of a man than him, because he couldn't open the door for his parishioners, but Carl and Michonne could. So hearing Gabriel scream for help, Carl and Michonne break down the front door, allowing Gabriel inside, but they are then overwhelmed with walkers and are forced to retreat to the rectory. So they're just being overtaken. This place is being destroyed and sniffed out by walkers. Once there, Gabriel holds off the walkers while Carl, Michonne, and Judith escape through the hole Gabriel had made previously in the floor of his office. Then follows himself. They reseal the front doors, trapping the walkers inside, and they realize that they need to leave the church. They need to leave it behind. Finally, Gabriel's going to have to leave his past behind. And maybe he's relieved, maybe he's upset with that, maybe the church held a special place in his heart, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Just as the walkers are about to break through the door, Abraham's group arrives in the fire truck, bringing the news that Eugene's mission was a lie and that they're not going to go to D.C., which doesn't really matter to the rest of the group because they didn't travel that long of a ways. These people traveled from Texas to Georgia, and now they're on their way to D.C., and he's telling them that it was a lie. So it's more of a big deal to them. Rick and them, once they find out, they're going to be like, okay, whatever. It's probably not a big deal to them. Right? Michonne informs Maggie they know where Beth is, and they head to Atlanta. So everyone in the group, not just Rick and them, they're all going to Atlanta to try to rescue Beth. That's been the mission for the past few episodes. O'Donnell confronts Dawn after overhearing her talk to Beth about how she covered up Beth's involvement in Gorman's death. She's like, seriously? You have a lot to hide. You're running this group in a corrupt way. We don't like it. Nobody likes it around here. And he's trying to get her to change her ways, which makes sense. He's trying to check her a little bit. He threatens to remove her as a leader and maybe appoint someone else because the group can vote on who can be the leader. The two get into a fight, resulting in O'Donnell's death when Beth pushes him down the elevator shaft. So Beth pretty much kills someone indirectly. I mean, it's not like she stabbed him, but she shoved him off the elevator shaft and he dies. So I guess it shows that you shouldn't question Dawn's authority, or else your fate is going to get met with a fate. Beth later accuses Dawn of manipulating her into eliminating Gorman and O'Donnell, who were threats to Dawn's position, and again vows to escape. She's like, I'm gonna get out of here. You're making me do things I don't want to do, just for your own good. Yeah. Dawn denies the accusation and promises to remember Beth's support. Like, you've helped me a lot. I'm not gonna make this go unnoticed or unheard of. During their conversation, Carol begins to wake up, so now there's kind of like something we're left in the air with there. Carol's starting to wake up. Meanwhile, Rick meets up with another pair of officers and proposes to trade Shepard and Licari for Beth and Carol. Yeah. They're like trying to make the compromise before the actual meeting happens. They agree, and Rick's group meets Dawn and her officers at the hospital. Oh my goodness, this is insane. What happens here? Oof, is ridiculous. It's very unfortunate. It's probably one of the saddest deaths in the episode in the series in a while. Probably since what's his name? What was the old guy's name? Why can't I remember that guy's name? Yeah. So as Beth packs up, she hides a pair of scissors in her cast, so I guess in case things go wrong. The trade initially goes smoothly, but Dawn adds a condition at the last second, demanding Rick hand over Noah, her former ward, to replace Beth, her new ward. She's like, I want Beth, you get Noah. And Rick's like, no, because we don't even fucking know Noah that well. No offense to him, we don't even know him that well. Like, he came in our group, he helped us out, but we want Beth way more than we want Noah. Rick and Beth are reluctant, but Noah agrees so as to prevent bloodshed. Beth goes to give him a hug, but as she does so, Dawn makes a gloating comment in reference to her earlier conversation with Beth. I don't know why Beth did this. She kind of had it coming for her, but angered, Beth faces Dawn and icily tells her, I get it now. With that, Beth stabs Dawn's shoulder with the scissors. Caught off guard and literally by accident, Dawn reflectively fires her pistol into Beth's head, killing her instantly. So she literally didn't mean to do this. This is the one time that Dawn kills someone and doesn't really mean it, and she's like showing sympathy and whatnot. Despite Dawn's own shock and pleas for mercy, an enraged Daryl immediately pulls out his pistol and shoots her in the head, killing her. So Dawn and Beth have died at the scene. The result standoff is defused by Shepard, who tells the remaining officers to hold their fire. Everyone can just go their separate ways. She insists that Dawn was the problem all along, and that it is all over now that she is dead. So pretty much Daryl put that group out of their misery while also suffering himself. So kind of a selfish, kind of an insensitive thing to say. Edwards offers to let Rick and his group stay at the hospital, but Rick declines. He's like, do you really think we want to stay with you after what just transpired? Instead, he offers anyone in the hospital who wants to leave to join his group, but only Noah accepts. And this kind of represents Noah not being like a sheep and not like just obeying what everyone says. He wants to break off, he wants to do his own thing, and the rest of the group are kind of just like, they're just kind of there. As they exit the hospital, they encounter the rest of the group. The rest of the group shows up at the scene. Maggie collapses in agony when she sees Daryl carrying Beth's body. Very emotional scene. She breaks down. It's very tragic, honestly. In a post-credit scene, Morgan continues to follow Gareth's marks on the trees, coming across the school and later the church, where he makes an offering and laughs. So Morgan is starting to catch up with this group. That's going to be, sorry about the geese outside, that's going to start to become this really big storyline going in, as the season transpires. As he explores, he finds the map and a written note Abraham had left for Rick, which is Rick's full name written on it. He is shocked to learn that he is following Rick's trail. He didn't realize this, but turns out he's following Rick's trail. Mixed reviews from critics. The opening sequence and the ending was great. Beth's death was predictable. It felt like a big moment, and it's always wrenching to see how their characters react to the death of their loved ones. Beth's a pretty likable character, but you only really feel bad about her death because of Daryl and Maggie. He seemed to have to be reminded this episode that Beth being gone at all was a topic she should care about. Felt bad about it. 7.6 out of 10 from IGN. The ending was great. The performances of Lauren Cohan as Maggie Green, Norman Reedus as Daryl Dixon, the episode's final... Those were great performances. The episode's final few moments did prove to be some of the series' most powerful yet. Both Lauren Cohan and Norman Reedus have truly gut-wrenching performances after Beth's death, and it was heartbreaking to see Maggie's rapid transition from elation at learning her sister was alive to utter devastation at seeing her dead over the course of 20 minutes. So, yeah, B- on the AV Club. The finale reminds the audience that whatever else it's learned, the show still hasn't given up on its most beloved trick, killing people because it can. Beth's sudden death was a shock, no question, sort of predictable, but at the same time it was still pretty shocking, the way she died, although you can imagine some viewers were expecting just such a gut punch. There were signs. The result is a deflating conclusion to what had been a promising start. The episode, Season 5 is a pretty likable season, but it needed a strong episode to keep that momentum going and get people excited for the back half to air. The show has always delivered on its mid-season finales, especially with the Barnageddon Massacre, where Sophia died, Season 2, and the beheading of Herschel. And while this year's installment may not have equaled either of those examples in terms of pure shock value, it was an emotional and effective hour of television, nonetheless. Killing Dawn wasted a perfectly good Season 5 villain, which represented a missed opportunity to have a female character be the big bad, and to have the narrative for the rest of the season be based on a conflict between two women, Dawn and Beth. They kind of missed their opportunity by killing them off. This was probably one of the worst plots of Season 5 realistically. The story is more laughable than moving. The deaths of Dawn and Beth are a waste opportunity. The childish, ridiculous logic Dawn had for demanding Noah back, even though she had zero leverage, and Beth's inexplicable dumb decision to stab Dawn in the shoulder. There were some moments, of course, but I don't really have anything to say. I gotta kind of get into my other video so I can go get lunch before the football game. I am out. Have a good